Okay, so here I will go through the the lab 5. Let me take the report, so I will just go through everything. So the first section is on the paper review, so I downloaded the paper. I read the paper briefly. The part which I find most interesting is section 5. Let me go there, which is on the protocol design. This part is quite interesting. So it describes the method implemented to manage the power energy consumption and ensure reliable data communication in the wildlife tracking. The part which on the flooding protocol and priority-based the communication to ensure the critical data will be sent is quite interesting, and the conclusion shows that the design is quite robust. They can get the data from the real world scenario. So here it shows this protocol evaluation in the finger 10, which is here. So the success rate is quite high, you see here. So this is the first section on the paper review. Then it's on the design of the IoT device. So there are a few considerations I have. The first is the coloring of the device should be in black color, so they can blend with the zebra. And secondly, it will be powered by the solar, so we don't need it can last longer. It can get all the sun power during the daytime and then use it continuously. So I plan to put the GPS to track where these zebras will travel. Secondly, we will monitor the heart rate and the blood oxygen rate. So it will, with the GPS data and all this, we can track whether there's any animal threatening these zebras. And we also want to track the environment sensors like temperature, sound accordingly. So all these we want to put in the zebra. Okay. So this is the section 2B. For section 2C, in terms of the design, I have it here. Let me drag it. So, put it here. So this is the device. I called it test. Okay, let me open it. Okay, so firstly, let me make it larger. Okay, so first we have the Arduino, the board. Okay, the most important device will be the GPS, which is here. So for the device, it's powered by 3.3 volts power. So I connected to the 3.3 part. The ground will be connected to the ground. I follow the tip, so it's the TX and RX is connected to the port 0 and 1 accordingly, following what the tip says. The second is on the vital device, the vital sensor. Same here, it points to the 5 volts power, and then this is the ground. I put the two key monitoring to the A4 and A5, so I also follow the tips on this setup. Then I have the sound sensor, so we want to see what the zebra when we will talk. So this is a power 5 volts, ground, and then digital output put to port 7. Okay. And I also have the air quality sensor to check the air quality when they travel, to see the air quality on different locations. So here I have the power, ground, and then the output I put to A3 analog. Okay, and then I also have the temperature sensor. So it's quite simple. The power, The output and the ground, the power, I connected to A0. Okay. So these are the sensors that I deployed. Now let's go through the code. So here I follow the tips, include the GPS and then the oxygen meters. I put it here. For the setup, so these are for the sensor communication. Firstly, I define a analog 0 as the pin for the temperature. The sound will be pin 7, so it's a digital output. Then the air quality is A3, it's analog. It's digital. It's analog. And then the vital, I define the 8 as the input. For the loops, so firstly we follow the tips to define the temperature, and I will also output the temperature, delay 1000 seconds, and then we check the sound to see whether the sound is on and off. Later we will monitor in the simulator. We will also monitor the air quality, so we will also read the air quality. These are the GPS, so we will read the GPS signal, the heart rate and oxygen accordingly. So these are the code, and I can save it and then submit to do the simulation. Okay, for the device. Later we will see the simulation. Okay, so these are the device. So overall we have 5 sensors. So the GPS, vital, air quality, sound, and the temperature. Okay, so these are the device I have. So you can see here the device runs properly. So we see the logs. Okay, so these are the code to go through for section 2C. So now let's go to section 3 on the simulation. So I have the device downloaded and running. So let me choose the hers. So here we can choose the zebras. Okay, so here if I tip the test, which is the device I just deployed, we can go to the zebras. Let me walk to the zebra. This one, so that I can see them. Okay, so you see here we can monitor the zebra. You can see the readings of the temperature, whether sun is on, what is the temperature accordingly. See here, these are the tracking. So here it's running, and all these data are stored. So we can also see the list of animals. So these are the list of the animals. We can also check the lion if you want. So it's here. So the lion is here is the lion. So we can also attach the device to the lion to monitor the lion. Okay, so these are the simulation. So let me just show you the logs and then the answering the 7 questions. So let me go to the simulations here. So I read the logs under the logs. Okay, here. Okay, so these are the logs. I downloaded a readable. So if I may, let's go to the part on the 7 questions. Okay. Firstly, I modified the sample code. So the sample code read the location. So I added the oxygen here and then read these text log and transformed into the JSON format. Okay. So these are the raw data. So you can see if I open it, you have the timestamp, you have the GPS, you have the oxygen, and the heart rate data. Okay. So these are the code that I use to answer the 7 questions. The first is to read the JSON file, get the list of the zebras. So here, these are the list of the zebras. I put all the tracker on all the zebras. And the first question is on the population, whether they are considered healthy. So here we check individually each of the zebra. Okay. The definition we put is the blood oxygen level saturation should be about 0.95, heart rate from 50 to 80. So these are the plots of the heart rate and oxygen saturation based on the threshold. So you see most of these zebras are healthy, except this one you see is unhealthy. You see the heart rate is extremely high, about 200. So this one is certainly something strange is happening. Other than that, it's healthy. And secondly, we check whether the zebra has enough room to move around. So we just plot the area. Okay. And in terms of criteria, I just put a threshold 1,000 to see whether they have enough room to move. So the roaming area is quite large. So you see here, the area is quite large. So I consider it as enough area to move around. So these are the boundary. The third is whether there's any threat. So the way I do it is to define whether it runs very fast with high heartbeat. So here I put 80 as a high heartbeat and 90 percentile to if the zebra run extremely fast with high heart rate, then they may be facing the threat. So here I'm plotting the location, where they qualify this, and here you see these are the high risk area. So you see here it's concentrated, so the zebra must run very fast in this area. So I consider this as a potential poaching zones. Okay. Then we plot the CDF of the movement of the zebra, and what do we observe? Okay, so here I plotted here. You see, these are the distributions of the speed. So what is our observation? So firstly, the movement speed is 1.979 units as medium. So 90% of the time the speed is below 1.83, which is quite interesting. And a small fraction of the speed are very fast. So this one is like they will run very fast for some period. Okay, but in general it's not so fast for most of the time. And then we check whether the zebra make friends. So the way we do it is to check the the distance between each of them and the amount of the time they spend. So here this is the code, and let me go through the code. So here we check the distance between the two. Okay, and then we check the time that they spend together. And then we detect whether they are close. So here we have two pairs which are very close, so they always stay together based on the GPS data. So these are the conclusions. So these two pairs tend to stay together most of the time, so they do make friends. Okay, the next is the whether they have any high density area and they like to go. So here I'm using the KDE to identify the areas, and then the area which they tend to go is marked as green color. So here, these are the high density area. And then for the question 7, area they tend to avoid. So I put also the using the KDE, and then this time I choose the lowest. Okay, so it's this point which they spend the least amount of time. Okay, so they run a lot here, and then they take a break here, and then they walk. But these are the areas that they avoid. Okay. So I also plot the 3D graph on the time and the latitude and the longitude on where they travel of all these 8 zebras. So the graph is like this. So you see here they tend to go together, and then all of a sudden these zebras start to stay in this area. This 38B 587. Okay, so if we check 38B, 38B. You see here, this zebra is the one with a high heartbeat. So this one suddenly they stay in this area. So probably something bad happened. Okay, so these are my report.